Hello and welcome to the Table Talk Wednesdays here at the CDL Cafe, where leadership isn't just talked about, it's challenged. This isn't your typical leadership conversation. This is where we gather around the table every week to ask hard questions and put character back to the center of how we lead. Sometimes it's just us, the team, sharing real reflection, and sometimes we pull up an extra seat for a guest whose voice brings fresh perspective, bold insight, and lived experience to the table. Because around here, we believe leadership that isn't rooted in character won't last. Leadership that doesn't challenge the system won't change it. And leadership that's all image and no substance isn't leadership at all. So grab your coffee, lean in, and let's get into today's table talk. Let's go.
People, can y'all see me? What's up, good people? It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder. It's another Table Talk Wednesday here in the cafe. Welcome to the cafe. Pull a chair up. I want you to order your favorite beverage. Grab a cup of tea, grab some coffee, grab whatever your favorite beverage might be, and join us for this conversation. I'm waiting for the host as well as the other co-host, Mr. Coach Italia, to join us, and we have a special guest today that's going to be joining us as we do on some of these Table Talk Wednesdays and these Wednesday conversations that we'll be doing on leadership. So today we're going to be joined, hopefully in a couple of minutes, in a minute or so. We're going to be joined by him, and I'll let him introduce himself. So I'll wait for him to come on, and then we can have him introduce himself, and then the crew will be rolling up. Should be rolling up pretty soon, so we want to have them on as well too. We got a great topic for today that we're going to be talking about, of course, under the umbrella of character, leading with character. So we want you to be able to have some food. You can go up to the counter and order your dishes. It's almost like being at Panera Bread. Y'all know how it is. You pull up, you grab a beverage, grab a nice sandwich while we're here in the cafe. We want you to be comfortable, and we want to be able to have these conversations that we have between those of us that are leaders, those of us that are entrepreneurs, those of us that are doing some great things here in the community, nationally, internationally, and all of those good things. The thing that I love about the cafe is what you all might not know, is that the ones that you see, that's Coach Italia and Dr. Mackey and myself, we're in 3 different locations. We're here. I'm here in the States. Coach Italia is between the States and Mexico, and then Dr. Mackey is actually in I want to say Kuwait, but that could be different. But I know we're across the globe, believe it or not, and so I think that's a pretty dope thing to have, where we have these conversations, and it's not we're not limited to be in person. The great thing about where we are in this world today in technology, we're able to actually, there's our guest. I see him. So let me see if I can pull him up, and let's see if I get him up. Go or Dr. Mackey, but waiting for them to come on, and let's see. There he is.
My hero.
Oh, don't you start.
I'm still I'm still in the school trying to get my degree, so I will no longer be a fool because I want to be cool like a good doctor that I'm looking at and I'm blessed to be around and blessed to be a guest on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. You know, it's an honor and a privilege to have you here. I'm waiting for my co-partners to come on. They were having some technical difficulties, so we'll see how that rolls. But you know, I've got to. I need you to see this. Look now, look there. I need you to see this. I'm vowing to. I'm vowing. I'm vowing to the champ, because as Ali said, the champ is here. The champ is here.
Well, I tell you what, put the ring up there so I can kiss it. Put the ring up there. Yeah. Put the ring up there, my brother.
How you
How you
doing, bro?
doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. I can't complain at all, bro. How about you, man? Good to see
I
you.
can't complain neither, man. I'm just trying to stay in the game and trying to work this thing as it try to work me.
I know that's right. You know, that is so
If
true.
if Go ahead.
Now, go ahead. Now, go ahead. Go
If
ahead.
I'm just saying, every day, man, it's an opportunity to rise up and flow against the wind, flow against the tide, flow against the waves. Because see, when we flow with, it's too easy. So we got to
Mm,
make it hard, and as we make it hard, that's where we learn our lessons.
well,
Now,
that's very
I'm
true.
not saying going out there bumping your head. Now, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? There are lessons that we learn in life that make us powerful enough to, refresh ourselves, to golden ourselves, and not only just for ourselves, but to pass it on to those that are coming up behind us. So hopefully they can sidestep those detour signs that might lead them into unnecessary danger.
Yeah, and I was talking about that just while we're waiting for them to come. We can engage in this conversation. But I was having that conversation with someone just the other day. That very thing that we as I call us the now generation, and preparing the next generation for, where they're going. It is our responsibility to be able to teach them so that they don't have to bump their heads against those walls and those barriers that we once did. And I've always said this, that it's every generation's responsibility to make it easier for the next generation.
I, can-
And
I, Go ahead.
no, for the next generation, and so that they don't have to bump their heads, so that they don't have. There's some things that you're just gonna have to go through, unfortunately, because you gotta,
Oh
like
yeah.
you said, you have to learn. But we are here to be able to make it better for the next generation, so that they don't have to bump their heads against the wall against some of the things that they might, had they not had that nurturing, you know.
Well, I will say that as we have progressed forward um, in this life, things have gotten better.
Hmm.
Um, technology has gotten better. Our wear has gotten better. Our health has gotten better. So it almost leaves no room for excuse as to why one cannot take advantage of the opportunities that are bestowed upon them. So I was telling someone the other day, I said, I could see if we were back in the 60s, 70s, or
Hmm.
80s, and even some of the 90s. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Because we did not have the advantages that we have now. Let's keep in mind, there are some, and I'm going to go old school here, there are some sectors of this American society that, yes, they flourish on putting their foot on certain people's necks. But I
For
tell you
sure.
what, there's a way to wiggle from under that. There's a way to wiggle from under that. And that way is, just keep your mind to the grind, if you will. Keep your thoughts, keep your focus to where you have to go. And just like you said, if we don't have those bumps in the road, how can we learn, which
Yeah.
road to take?
For sure, for sure, and I mean, and that's the thing, because I was listening to one of the social media, and it's, you know, you can tell the difference in the generations just in the simple way that people talk. And the
Yeah.
way that they were speaking, because you can tell that some of them don't really have the experience that some of us that have gone through what it is that they're yet to go through.
Yes, sir.
So just listening to them, you get to say, look, no, you gotta listen and be, you know, and be cognizant of those things that, you know, that are there, not being listened to.
You know, I was in a fatherhood meeting last night, and one of the gentlemen, one of the young brothers, stood up and he was, you know, speaking. I can't remember everything he was saying verbatim, but one thing that caught me is that, you know, as we get older, more so in my generation, the baby boomer generation, you know, as we get older and we done lived our life, if you will, um, we can't be afraid to address the younger generation.
For
You
sure.
know, once you break that ice with them, they can trust you. Then they're subject to open their ears to tune in to what you say. Now they might not digest it, but one thing for sure, they will take it in. And I agree with you. I agree with the majority of people when they say that our younger generation is a whole different breed. And
Hmm.
I want to say that when my generation was coming along, that our parents were saying the same thing about us,
And
that we were a whole different generation. You know,
that's what
I
I
don't
was
know what's
just
wrong
about to
with that
say.
generation. So
Right.
I hear that now about the younger generation today. However, yes, they on a whole nother, they're in a whole nother zone. But the moral of the fabric is, though they may be in another zone, some of them realize that, okay, even though I'm on my zone, I'm going to have to switch up my zone to get on in order to progress and be positive in a legal way. I'm going to have to change up my thoughts and get on that train, because it looks like that train that is moving on legal avenue, it's going a little further in life than where I am today on this I know it all avenue. Or better yet, it's not even an avenue. It's a street that they on. And that's not
Right.
to
Right.
demean them. That's not to demean them, but I'm just saying, you know, that generation is a whole different breed. And the fact that I worked with them on a regular, which I'm thankful, because at 68, I'm gonna tell you, they keep me in the know. All right, they keep me in the flow, and they coach me on, you know, how to speak with them, to get the doors to open, to communicate with them in such a way that they want to communicate back with me. You know, and it's kind of funny because every time I talk to them, they laugh, and I say, "Why are y'all laughing?" They say, "Because, you know, it's unusual to see an old man like you speaking our language." You know,
Uh-uh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's all cool with me because of the fact that long as I can get to them, get to their psyche, and drop those positive nuggets in there, it's all good. I have no problem with that. That let me know that the word is penetrating to where it
Yeah.
needs to go. So, like my man said last night, it's like, don't be afraid to address them. Walk up to them, make them feel comfortable, you know. And once they cool up to you, if you will, then all right, that respect starts to grow, and then they recognize you. And that go for the young men, and that go for the young ladies. They gonna do what they gonna do.
For sure. For
You
sure.
can't go up preaching to them like back in the days. You can't preach to them, but when you talk to them on their level, you see what I'm saying? While you talking to them, you dropping nuggets to them or
Yeah.
in them. But they're
And
gonna
and
do what they're gonna do.
and isn't that the same thing? And I don't know how you say you 68. You ain't nowhere near 68 years old. Stop lying to these people like that.
All right, okay, all right, all right. Since I'm on broadcast, all right. Since I'm on broadcast, I'm gonna come on out and let everybody know. You're right, Doctor. You done busted me. I'm not 68. I just dyed my hair gray. You know what I mean? 'Cause I want to look intelligent. You know, I want to look mature. I want to look intelligent. You know. But I'm only 22, so hey, it is what it is. I'm busting. Hey, 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 let me check my door to make sure, because I heard somebody knocking. I want to make sure it's not ICE or FBI coming to get me. You see
I
what
know
I'm
that's
saying?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got to be on the lookout. Yeah.
That is for sure. You know. Yeah, but that is true. So I mean, and let me actually be. Weren't we the same way that we say that this generation is with our parents? Where we thought that they were just trying to be the mean old, and they didn't want us to live our lives, and they didn't understand us and everything like that. Didn't we say the same thing that this generation is saying as well too?
Yeah, and my grandmother, when I told my grandmother one time, I told her, I said, she was chastising me about the streets, and I'm like 16, 17 years old, and I'm telling her, what you know, you old, you don't know nothing about what's going on,
Right.
all right? And she looked at me and said, I I know more than you think I do. I know
Mm.
more than you think I do. Now, years after she passed, I was told by a family member about her young life. All right. And come to find out, she was out in them streets too. So she
Mm.
knew about them streets, even though her being in the streets was like in the 1940s and the 30s. You see what I'm saying? But still,
Mm.
she was out there in them streets. So she know, and I got to let you know, uh, for every human being that come through this life, believe it or not, in some fashion, we must understand we're human. And in the midst of us being human, as young people, we follow the crowd. But once we get to a certain age, then we start to design and build our own path of where we're going to go in this life. But when we are young, say, from the age, well, let's say from the age of elementary to high
Mm.
school, 9 times out of 10, we're following the crowd. But
Yeah,
once,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, and the parent and those of us that are trying to instruct positivity, we are considered nags. We are considered preachers. We are considered past tense. We are considered standing in the way. But once we get older, then we look back and we find out they were far from standing in the way. They were trying to guide us on the right path of this life.
Yeah, and I want to ask you this, and we'll get in because they're trying to come in, and I don't know what's going on with the feed today, but they're not coming in. But I'm gonna start our conversation off like this because today we're gonna be talking about how leaders abuse influence without knowing it, right? How do we as the influencers and those that have the knowledge and the wherewithal as leaders in whatever capacity that is, how do we use that influence um, in a positive way? Initially, I'm gonna ask you that one first, and then I'll go into the other one without knowing it. How do we use that in a positive way? Because we know that there are those that will use that, and I've even seen it today. They'll use that influence that they have over someone, and even the younger generation, because of their lack of knowledge, to be able to manipulate or to abuse it. How do you, as a leader, not abuse the influence that you do that you know that you do have?
I'll answer this like this. Look, I've been here for a long time. I'm old enough to be your daddy, your granddaddy. So go ahead over there and do what I tell you to do. You don't know as much as I do. All this fancy stuff that you're talking, I don't want to hear that. I'm going strictly by what I know. Now, keep in
Mm.
mind, when you have that power and you have that management skill, if you will, we must understand that we must manage in such a way, democratic, and I'm not talking political, but I'm talking
Mm.
democratic,
Right.
where you open yourself up to allow the subordinate, allow the employee to have a say. because you never know that that employee or that subordinate brings to the table might be the word, might be the knowledge to take the company or keep the company out of the red, to possibly spring more opportunities to the table, more opportunities to advance. But the moral of the story is we cannot be, as managers or owners or founders, CEOs or what have you, string it so much so that the rope is so tight that we can't allow a newcomer, if you will, who may have bigger and brighter ideas to bring to the table. I mean, we owe that much to allow their thoughts to come to the table. You know, and I'm sure you've been to some picnics where, or family reunions or repasses where, you know, people they come in with their hands out. All right, they come in with their hands out. They ain't bring nothing to the table. They just come in to see what they can take from the table. So in the same manner, we should allow our employees, our subordinates, however you want to call them, to be able to bring ideas to the table. So in that way, like I said previously, it opens up the door to possibilities. When I had 10 people, if you will, working for me, we would have weekly meetings. And in these meetings, I would tell my subordinates, I would say, look, I give you the opportunity to bring your ideas to the table. At the final say so, yes, I am the decision maker. However, opening up the floor for XYZ to bring thoughts and suggestions to the table only is going to help us propel forward, only is going to allow us to serve our clientele even better, only going to open up opportunities for a broader reach and to keep DLD alive. But when you shut it down, I'm the boss, what I say go, okay, it works, but I think it works on a lesser than it does on a greater.
Now, do you think that some that are in that position as a leader, do you think that they have that influence? Do you think that they can abuse it without knowing it? Do you think they can use it without knowing it?
Yeah. Oops, sorry about that. It can happen. All right. Sometimes when we're so embedded in our leadership, sometimes we can overstep the boundaries. I was listening to Earl Nightingale when he talks about something similar to that. Look, we all need each other. All right, whether you know it or not. Not only do we need each other, but the ideas we bring to the table opens up great opportunities. All right. Now, I'm going to sidetrack to say this. You and I, we're conversing over media. Well, that was someone's idea.
Correct.
I'm talking on my phone. That was someone's idea. All right. So we have to work for those someones who have those ideas. They may not be our cup of tea, but guess what? I hope I'm not saying this wrong, if you will, or speaking out of line, but them same people are the people that we need, because those same people, they pay us to live the life that we live. And I say that to say this, to get back on point, is that you have some who are in power, who, yes, they abuse their power because of the fact they know where they are, but it's on us to, how can I say, because they are in that power, to respect them, to attempt to understand them, because of the fact that they are laying the rules down. And that may sound odd, that may sound weird, especially in the time that we're living in now. And I'm not going to step on political street. but if you read between the lines, you kind of figure. Okay. But yes, we do have some that are in leadership roles and they abuse it by not knowing they do. And trust me, there are people in their circle who, how can I say, who is abreasting them to it, who is acknowledging them to it. But it's up to them once they understand, to work on their, how can I say, their management traits, their management habits.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right, and that's you just said something really key right there. Their management habits. And do you think that being a leader and having influence is something that we have to work at? And can you give me an example of how you've worked at that, not abusing that influence, even when you're not, even though I know you would never do anything like that, but how does somebody that might not recognize, hey, I'm actually taking advantage of this influence, to say, you know what, I'm not going to do that, and I have to do these things in order to not take advantage of it or abuse it, if that
You
makes
know,
sense.
you know, yeah, it do make sense. And if I can say this, none of us born into this world are born leaders. All right. We have to be trained to be the leader that we request. Nine
Mm-hmm.
times out of 10, we start out as followers. And as I
Correct.
said earlier, as we grow, we tend to take all the knowledge that we had gathered, all right, and we move forward with that. For instance, when I saw James Brown on Ed Sullivan's show back
Mm-hmm.
back thousands of years ago, I said I wanted to be like him. Now, just
Okay.
imagine how many of us have seen a football player, a speaker, um, a cook, a doctor, a teacher, and as a young person, we said, "Oh, I want to be like them." Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, we began to start to brush up on the knowledge that we need. Okay. As we move forward, though, all right, the traits of that leader, all right, can tend to take over. Now, when I was coming through, um, for instance, when I was in the military and I had, maybe 10 people, 10 young men in my squad,
Mm-hmm.
I found myself being open to the point that allowing them to, if they had suggestions or if they had anything that they needed to bring to the table, to bring to the table. Yes, I would roll my sleeve up and I would get, working like they were. Again, like I said, I was a democratic leader. So I did not off limit myself. I didn't think of myself as being much better than or much higher than, because I wanted to have that working relationship, that fluid relationship, and that positive relationship. But I always kept a barrier so they know in the midst of us working together in the kind of relationship that we had that I am, the leader of this bunch, if you will. So they knew how far to push the envelope. So I think that for anyone, especially in today's climate and dealing with the generation that we deal with, they're only going to bow down to so much. So most definitely, we move forward with respect to who we're working with, because at the end of the day, we are the leader and we should be leading them in a positive direction that's going to benefit them, manager, the company, and all that are involved, and even the customer and the clientele.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, do you think that there are, what are the blind spots that leaders should be looking to and or to be able to confront, so that they don't get into those positions that they have that influence that they have, and it doesn't get to the point where they're abusing it.
That's a great question. Um, well, I think, and I hope I answer this question with knowledge that when you talk about blind spots, which we all have, um, to know it and to understand that, hey, maybe me as a manager, I could continue to get that training that I need. And when I say that, leadership training, retreats, asking question of maybe of superior, so that that superior can help guide that leader. Because as you know, we're all in a subject matter of always learning. How can I do my job better? How can I serve my subordinates in a much better way that is conducive to the company, if you will, or conducive to myself as a manager? I mean, we sometimes, yes, I've seen times when I was in that management role that because got blindsided, I had to step on that red carpet. And once I got on that red carpet, my managers, if you will, we sat down, and what we did, we talked about the issues that were, if you like you say, that were blind to me. And once my eyes are open to the situation, then I can go back and I can address those situations in a much better way. But I think that, when you talk about the blind spots, nobody knows it all. And when you say blind spot, the first thing that came to my mind, to be honest with you, is driving down the street and you're trying to get in another lane, but you don't see that car that's over there, right there behind you because of the, if you will, because of the wall back there, in the back seat that you can't see over. And next thing you know, guess what happened? You done hit somebody because of the blind spot. So in another form, in another matter, when you're talking about leadership and what have you, that can tend to happen. That can tend to put more pressure on the employee, the subordinate, and of course, it could cause customers to want to back off, save their money, or go to another establishment to spend their money. So we all still need coaching. No matter where you are, we all need to be coached, and it's just a matter of brushing up on those quote unquote dead spots that can knock us out the game.
Yeah, and I think the thing of it is and you're speaking from a management position, and that's true. That's very true. That we have to understand where we might not see things that others can see, and that's straighten your you got your camera sideways. Can you got it on? There you go.
Yeah, I'm trying to set it up because I'm holding the phone up and.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I guess there's a difference in, like you were saying, when you have others that can see from the outside, they're looking from the outside and can give you a different perspective and a different lens, then because people can see what we can't necessarily see. And that becomes, I think helpful for those leaders that are in positions and may want to, may not see the abuse of influence that they have versus, somebody who, yourself, you don't think, hey, I'm not seeing that that's happening, but in actuality, it is happening. So, but I want, based on your experience as an entrepreneur, and we haven't even introduced you, so I want you to, real quick, before I go to the question, because I was waiting for for everybody to come on, but it looks like we're having technical difficulties, so I'm flying this solo today. But hey, that is what it is. Introduce yourself to everyone. Let them know who you are, and what you do, because people need to know who this great gentleman is that I'm speaking with right here. So kind of give everybody a brief introduction of who you are and what you do, sir, and then I'll go into the next question.
Well, since I portray such a historical person, when you say you're flying solo, let me call my good buddy, one of the Wright brothers, to come out and hit the propel so your flight can take off safely, and hopefully you'll get further than 50 feet off the ground. Um, yeah, the last 15 years I've been traveling the country as the great Frederick Douglass. I am known as the 21st century Frederick Douglass. Also, I've written 14 books. My 13th book, The Power of Being a Winner, wound up on Barnes and Noble's #1 self-help book list. I'm working on my 15th book, which is entitled 50. And 50 represents 50 years of living in Tampa, Florida. And believe it or not, next month, August the 16th, will be exactly 51 years of living here in Tampa. I also, ex-military, I joined the United States Post Office and became the first Black manager of a department there. Prior to retiring at the age of 39 to start my company, which is DLD Enterprises. DLD, Determine, Learn, and Develop, which is a motivational company, LLC, that was created back in 1992. I went full time in 1996 when I retired from the post office. Since then, I have been traveling throughout, either as Frederick Douglass and or as motivational guru. I've written a lot of articles, motivational articles throughout the time. And I tell you, man, it has been a blast. The only thing that I can't understand is, and I'm just going to be honest with you, and I know we have listeners, when I worked at the post office, and there were times that I would call in sick, or I would just, hang out and wouldn't go to work, Once I left the post office and I stepped out on my own, and I started getting sick, and then all of a sudden time started flying. I'm like, man, well, it seemed like when I was at the post office, time was creeping. But once when I started my company, I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, a few hours ago, I was 39. Now, come November of this year, I'll be 69. Where the 30 years went? So that's an indicator that I was having fun, living my life. And I would tell anybody, if you have a dream, don't sit on that dream. I hear so many people say, well, I needed a job. I'm just going to be here for maybe, until I get it together or until I find this other career that I'm looking for. 50 years later, they still on that same job. Yep. So when we talked earlier about where we are and whatnot, how things have changed, and we talked about the baby boomers and et cetera, I was listening to a segment on AI this morning.
Okay.
Also Chat GPT. And I will, as I was looking at it and learning as what I can learn from it, I was saying to myself, all right, Don, we got to get on the bandwagon. We can't get left behind. We got to stay up to snuff of what's going on in our society. And this goes out more so to the young people. Get on board with your dreams. There's a lot of room out there for entrepreneurs. So I say just, get on board with your dreams, bring them to fruition, and hey, ride that train. Be happy in your life. Don't be disgusted, because I'm going to be honest with you. After Friday, when you blink your eyes, it's Monday. What do that mean? Oh, thank God it's Friday. Boy, I got the weekend. And before you can blink your eyes good, oh, man, God, I got to go to this man's job. You see what I'm saying? And nothing has changed from my time when I was back in the days, the time before me, et cetera, et cetera. But when you get yourself in a position that you can be comfortable with your life and you enjoy your life, you have more smiles than you have frowns. Your question, Mr. Dr. Leroy.
Yeah, and I'm going to go here with it. With you being a motivational speaker, with you being an influencer because of the great things that you've done with writing the books and everything like that, you have a certain amount of influence. And can you talk about, and the experience that you've had, I want you to speak of the difference between motivation and manipulation, because you have people that are in your position and they manipulate versus motivate. You know, or they use the motivation that they have to manipulate people to get them done, do what they want others to do. Can you talk a little bit? Can you talk about that, if you can?
Well, first of all, in reference to the motivational side of it, um, being under the wings of Les Brown, personally, I'll never forget what he told me. He gave me many of nuggets, but this one seems to flourish every time I get into a discussion or even when I'm speaking. He said, you know, when you go into a room or you go into an arena or you go into a church or what have you, you speak, you will know when you done captured the audience. But the moral of the story is when you capture the audience, I'm going to bring my hand into play if you can see it. All right? The audience, you know you got them in your hands. When you know you got them in your hands, open your hands. Why do you open your hands? So that they can fly away instead of you crushing them. So when you talk about motivation, motivation basically is to inspire, is to motivate, is to help individuals to feel better about themselves and to move on with their life. Manipulation is basically when you more or less is doing the same thing. However, you use their weakness to your benefit, which to me, it doesn't make any sense. Sort of like, well, if you send me, or if you try this, if you go there, and 9 times out of 10, guess what? If you meet me at the back of the room, you need to buy this book. You need to buy this. You need to buy this. You know, I feel, even though I do have an inventory, books, T-shirts, the whole nine, and yes, I do take them out with me. Yes, I do set up my vendor table. But the biggest thing about it is, while I'm speaking, I very seldom mention my inventory. Because I feel personally it's more about how can I inspire a person to go on with their life, instead of getting in their pockets. Because like it was told to me, look, if you bring a good product to the table, you don't have to sweat people about buying it. Because they will believe in you so much that they will buy your product automatic. You feel me? The money will come to you. And once you get to a point that you feel like you have to manipulate people, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, you'll make the money. Yeah, okay, you'll live the life. But there's a guilt sensation at the end of all that because you have taken so many people down the wrong road for the benefit of enriching oneself. So I think that, at least in my path of life, is to be as honest as possible. Lead by example. It's one thing that is for sure. I cannot stand before people and suggest to those people if I'm not doing it myself. I know you heard that song, riding dirty. Well, guess what? I don't feel comfortable when I'm riding dirty. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get off this broadcast because I need to take my car to the car wash. So I'll talk to you later, okay? Because I've been riding dirty.
Yeah, and we know I know the kind of car you drive, so I know you keep it clean too.
Keep that between you and me because, you know, I don't want everybody to know that I got a Fred Flintstone mobile, okay? Let's keep that under the wraps, all right?
Exactly.
Since you put that on blast, I'm going to go ahead and let you bring up 2 cars. One is the Ford Flintstone mobile, and the other one is the Beverly Hills mobile now. All right? I'm going to put it out there. That's right.
So, and I like how you gave a description of the 2 different things, and what I'd like for you to do is we have a lot of what we call fake leaders, and I know I know what I mean when I say fake leaders, and you have a lot of folks that are out here that are call themselves coaches and everything like that. And there's this thing where some of them are manipulators, some of them are motivators. right? So how can one that might be listening to this, to listening to the in the cafe that's listening right now, how can they determine which ones are the manipulators and which ones are the motivators out of the two? Is there just like characteristics that one will have that will say, yeah, that's somebody that's not that's a motivator. I can tell by the way that they carry themselves. Are there certain traits that one can have that one has when it comes to that?
Well, I could say wisdom, I could say knowledge, but we all have that. But the one that stands out, and to be honest with you, each time I speak, the audience members will come back at me. Even when I'm doing Frederick Douglass, they will come at me, Q&A. They will say something like, sir, I truly believe in you because I feel your passion. I feel your love for what you're doing. And I can tell that it's not about you, but it's about the love that you honestly have for us as a people. And you really want to see us get there. Now, you do have some that, like you say, it's a racket to them, and I look at so many people that I guess the word is discernment. When I hear someone say they're a motivational speaker, you can go on TikTok, online, everywhere, and if you look at their biograph, you'll see motivational speaker, motivational inspire, motivational this, motivation, So when you see this, for me especially, I have a tendency of studying their look. I might hear what they have to say. And for a lot of them, no, they don't cut the mustard. At least a certain percentage of them nowadays. They could look, they could have a doctorate degree, they can have a master's or what have you. But yeah, they got the knowledge. But I think when you done been through the struggle and you done suffered through the struggle and you've been abused through the struggle and you speaking to people, you speaking with passion because of the fact that you do not want to see others go through what you have been through. So there's a portion of deep passion, love, and understanding for what you do. And I'll be honest, and I will share. When I got into this, I made a promise. And look, I have the gift of gab. I do have the gift of gab. I could go and become a salesman, and I could sell all the Rolls Royces on the lot. However, I made a promise to God personally, and it went something like this. Lord, this gift that you have given me, let me not abuse it, misuse it, or use it to get over, mistreat, or deny others. Give me the knowledge that you've given Solomon to be able to rise, raise, build a people. And brother, for the last 35 years or 36 years, that's what I've been living on. And I keep it capital H, capital O, capital N, capital E, capital S, capital T, honest. And I say, Lord, if you never open up another door for me, I thank you. And it seems like every time I say that, another door opens. So I keep it real. Wow. I keep it real. I keep it 10,000, brother. 10 toes down. And I understand that, like anything, think about how many teachers there are. Think about how many officers, police officers. Think about how many entrepreneurs. And this may sound weird when I say entrepreneurs because of the fact that when you're an entrepreneur to make money. That's the purpose, to make money. But when you get into the business, though, and you start conniving, lying, cheating, underhanding, then guess what? You put an asterisk by your business because people say, they know this business here is not up to par. That person right there is not up to par. And you know for yourself there's a lot of businesses out here that even you wouldn't do business with because you know there's a lot of issues going on there. And whether that business is African American, whether it's Caucasian, whether it's Indian, whatever the case. You see what I'm saying? So the matter of I think what I heard today, you know, truth, honesty always win. Because one thing about truth and honesty, you can't change that.
That's
lying,
for sure.
lying, underhanding, when you get caught, the first thing that they are trying to do, and not you per se, but when they get caught, the first thing they try to do or attempt to do is to change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, last question, and then we'll let you go. Being that this is the 21st century, and how do we keep, you know, and here in the cafe and the character-driven leadership cafe, our focus is on character-driven leadership. How do we keep leadership clean in this present time, like you just talked about? Someone that can have the same mindset that you have, like, look, I'm not here to do, you know, to manipulate. I'm not here to take advantage of people. How do we keep it? How do we keep that mentality, and how do we keep leadership clean and moving forward in this 21st century so that the next generation sees it, understands it, and moves in that same direction?
Well, it's all by studying. It's all by staying on track to what was already done. And we have a lot of major companies out here who have been here forever and a day. And I'm not talking about companies that started up in the 1970s. Let's go to companies that started back in the 1930s that still caters to our needs. And they cater to our needs successfully. You know, I think about the first one that comes to my mind is Kellogg. You know, when you talk about Kellogg, all right, Kellogg started out, let's just say they started out with the regular cornflakes. But they understood as time went on that they had to change, they had to revisit, they had to revise certain products in order to stay in tune with the changes, if you will, the adaptations of generations that have come along and technology. But I want to say that in the midst of all their revise and all their changes that they have made to stay abreast, to stay relevant, they have done it in such a manner that has been honest, that has been up to par, and it continues to keep the customer, the consumer, coming back for more. So when you know that you're putting out a good product and you know that you're dealing with and you're going by the, how can I say, the 10 commandments, if I can use that term, of honesty and how to keep that and keeping that company alive, quite naturally, you are pushing that 10 commandments, you're pushing it down line, not just to your managers, not just to your upper management, but you want to keep that alive even with your subordinates so that, you know, they will know what it is to be honest and what it is to keep the company afloat. You can look at GM, you can look at Ford, you know, look at all these companies that have been around since the 1800s. What has kept these companies alive besides the bottom line? It's bringing in and keeping attuned to the commandments and the commitments that keeps the company running. And you think on the other side, the recent upstarts that only lasted for a minute. Why did they fail? Okay, we could say they failed because of capital. But we can also say they failed because of, guess what? Mismanagement. I would say, you know, just mismanagement of the company, and the honesty has been pushed out the door. And trust me, I said it earlier, you know, truth goes a long ways. When you're working out of the back door, what you do in the dark and has a tendency to come out into the light. Now, you might question me. You might say, well, okay, well, what about Kmart? Why Kmart is not around? Why Zayres is not around? Well, guess what? For the most part, you do have great upstarts. Let's look at Sam Walton with Walmart and Sam's, Costco. You know, these are upstarts that came along, and quite naturally, they came along and they caused a change and a drift in another direction, and that tends to happen. It tends to happen. But the moral of the story is, guess what? Longevity has its path. And that is the word from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Longevity has its path and its advantages. So I would say the whole moral of the story is that keeping true to fold to stay alive. And that's not stay alive. I'm talking stay alive in business.
So y'all heard it. We've had it. The great Dr. Donald Dowridge has spoken. And brother, I want to say thank you. We at the Table Talk Wednesday CDL Cafe, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and spread your knowledge, your expertise with us. Sorry that we had the technical difficulty and they weren't able to get in for whatever reason. It was acting up today, so I don't know what it was. But I appreciate you coming on and talking with us. Just this conversation has been one that we have these conversations so that we make leaders better. We make those that are in leadership positions better, so that they understand the power that they have, so that they understand the character that they must possess in order to be able to move themselves forward, and in order to be able to move us forward as a whole too. So I appreciate you. I will be talking with you. You know it. So I appreciate you taking time. This has been the Table Talk Conversations with your boy, the Impact Builder. Hey, Bernice. Say, what's up, lady? So we ready to go. The topic was about influence and using your influence, abusing your influence when you don't realize it or recognize it. And this is our guest, Brother Donald Dowridge. We appreciate you, brother. I know you got things you got to do. You're on the move. We will talk to y'all soon. We will see y'all next Wednesday with another tabletop conversation. Peace.
All right, that's it for this week's Table Talk Wednesdays. If this conversation sparks something for you, don't just scroll past it. We want you to share this with someone who leads or want to lead with character at the center. Also, we want you to drop your thoughts in the comments. Trust me, we read everyone. And if you believe that your voice could add something to this movement, don't hesitate to reach out. We will be back next Wednesday with another conversation that matters. Until then, lead with truth, lead with courage, and most of all, lead with character. Peace upon you.